The morning the security badge stopped working, everyone in the lobby looked away. Malik Carter stood there holding his 6-year-old son's backpack in one hand and his lunchbox in the other, wearing the same clean blue work shirt he had ironed before sunrise. He had arrived 30 minutes early like he had for nearly 11 years. But instead of hearing the familiar beep from the scanner, a red light flashed. Moments later, 2 security guards quietly walked toward him. The whispers started before anyone even knew what had happened. His son, Noah, looked up with confused eyes, still smiling because children always believe adults can fix everything. Malik tried to smile back, but his heart was already breaking. He had no warning, no meeting, no explanation. Just one sentence that would change everything. Your employment has been terminated effective immediately. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, hard work, and second chances still matter in this world, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Hardworking Dad for more powerful stories that remind us never to give up. Malik had never imagined his life could collapse before breakfast. For years he had worked as a senior maintenance supervisor for one of the largest manufacturing companies in the city. His job wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills, kept food on the table, and allowed him to raise Noah alone after losing his wife, Amina, to a sudden illness 4 years earlier. Every day since then had been about survival. He woke before dawn, packed lunches, braided Noah's curly hair as best he could after watching countless online tutorials, dropped him at school, and worked overtime whenever possible. His life revolved around one promise he had whispered beside Amina's hospital bed. He would make sure Noah never felt alone. That promise became harder to keep when the company decided people like Malik were just numbers on a spreadsheet. The human resources representative barely looked him in the eye. A printed envelope containing his final paycheck and legal documents was slid across the table as though 11 years of loyalty could fit inside a few sheets of paper. They claimed restructuring. They claimed budget cuts. They claimed his position had become unnecessary. Yet through the conference room window, Malik could see expensive renovations happening in executive offices and luxury vehicles arriving outside. Something didn't feel right. He walked out carrying a cardboard box filled with family photos, a coffee mug Noah had painted in kindergarten, and a small framed picture of Amina smiling under bright summer sunlight. His entire career had been reduced to a box that barely weighed anything, yet somehow felt heavier than the world. The hardest part wasn't losing the job. It was driving to Noah's school knowing he had no idea how he would explain why things were about to change. That evening, Malik pretended everything was normal. He laughed at Noah's jokes during dinner even though his appetite had disappeared. After Noah fell asleep, Malik sat alone in the kitchen staring at overdue bills. Rent was due in less than 2 weeks. Savings were almost gone after years of medical expenses and raising a child alone. Every number on those papers seemed determined to remind him that hard work didn't always guarantee security. Still, he refused to let despair win. The next morning he dressed in another pressed shirt and began searching for work. Days turned into weeks. Every interview ended with polite smiles and promises to call back. Every rejection chipped away at his confidence. Employers praised his experience but always found someone cheaper or younger. Some never responded at all. Meanwhile, Noah noticed everything. He noticed his father skipping meals so there would be enough groceries for him. He noticed the lights staying off during sunny afternoons to save electricity. He noticed the old family car sitting in the driveway because fuel had become too expensive. Children may not understand financial hardship, but they always recognize sacrifice. One afternoon Noah quietly placed his piggy bank on the kitchen table. Inside were coins and small bills he had collected from birthdays and chores. Malik couldn't hold back the tears. He hugged his son so tightly that neither of them spoke for several minutes. In that silent embrace, Malik realized he wasn't just fighting unemployment. He was fighting to preserve hope inside the heart of a little boy who believed his father could overcome anything. Unknown to Malik, someone else had also noticed his disappearance. Her name was Evelyn Brooks. Years earlier, Evelyn had started as an engineering intern at the same company. Fresh out of college, she had been overwhelmed by the massive facility and complicated equipment. Many employees ignored her questions because she was inexperienced. Malik hadn't. He patiently taught her how every machine worked. He stayed after shifts to explain maintenance systems. He encouraged her whenever she doubted herself. Most importantly, he treated her with respect long before anyone knew she would become one of the brightest engineers in the industry. Eventually Evelyn accepted a position elsewhere, launching a remarkable career in industrial safety consulting. Over time she became nationally recognized for exposing corporate negligence and unethical business practices. Companies feared receiving her phone calls because they often led to government investigations. She had not spoken with Malik in nearly 5 years. Then one evening, while scrolling through professional networking updates, she noticed dozens of former co-workers discussing sudden layoffs. Malik's name appeared among them. Something immediately felt wrong. She called an old colleague who quietly admitted the truth. The layoffs weren't about saving money. Management had been eliminating experienced employees who repeatedly documented dangerous safety violations. Replacing them with inexperienced contractors reduced costs and silenced internal complaints. Malik had unknowingly become a target because he refused to sign inspection reports hiding serious equipment failures. Evelyn's expression changed. She remembered every lesson Malik had taught her about integrity. She also remembered exactly who to call. The following morning, Malik's phone rang while he was repairing a neighbor's broken fence for extra cash. He almost ignored the unfamiliar number. That single decision changed everything. Evelyn introduced herself, and for a brief moment Malik couldn't believe who was speaking. She asked only a few questions before requesting copies of every maintenance report, email, and notebook he had carefully stored over the years. Fortunately, Malik had always believed documentation protected honest workers. He had kept everything. Within 48 hours, Evelyn and her legal team uncovered evidence revealing years of ignored safety warnings, falsified inspection records, and deliberate retaliation against employees who reported hazards. Several government agencies were immediately notified. Investigators arrived at the company without warning. Production lines stopped. Executives who once walked confidently through polished hallways suddenly found themselves answering difficult questions under oath. News helicopters circled overhead. Employees watched inspectors carrying boxes of evidence out of corporate offices. Shareholders demanded answers. Board members called emergency meetings that stretched late into the night. The company that had thrown away loyal workers without warning was now facing investigations that threatened its entire future. Ironically, none of it happened because Malik wanted revenge. It happened because one honest man had quietly done the right thing for years, and one grateful woman never forgot the kindness he had shown when she needed it most. As headlines spread across television and social media, people began sharing stories about Malik's character. Former co-workers described how he bought lunches for struggling employees without telling anyone. Single parents remembered him swapping shifts so they could attend school events. Young apprentices recalled how he patiently trained them instead of treating them like burdens. His reputation traveled much faster than the company's excuses. Within days, employment offers began arriving. Construction firms, engineering companies, universities needing maintenance directors. Even competitors reached out personally. They weren't simply hiring a skilled supervisor. They wanted a man whose integrity had survived circumstances designed to destroy it. Among those offers was one unlike the others. A family-owned manufacturing company invited Malik to become director of operations. During the interview they spoke less about machinery and more about leadership, compassion, and trust. They believed equipment could always be replaced, but character could not. Malik accepted. His first decision surprised everyone. Instead of celebrating alone, he created apprenticeship opportunities specifically for single parents trying to rebuild their lives. Flexible schedules, childcare support, and mentorship became central parts of the company's culture. He wanted others to receive the same chance life had unexpectedly given him. Months later, the company that fired him announced bankruptcy proceedings after lawsuits, regulatory penalties, and investor withdrawals overwhelmed its finances. Several executives resigned while others faced legal consequences. The corporation that believed loyalty was disposable discovered that integrity is far more valuable than quarterly profits. On a bright Saturday afternoon, Malik and Noah visited Amina's favorite park. The trees danced gently beneath warm sunlight while children laughed nearby. Noah raced across the grass chasing colorful butterflies, his joyful smile returning after months of uncertainty. Malik sat quietly on a wooden bench holding the old family photograph that had once rested inside his cardboard box. For the first time in a long while, peace replaced fear. He realized losing his job hadn't ended his story. It had revealed it. His greatest victory wasn't watching a dishonest company fall. It was proving to his son that dignity never goes out of style, honesty never expires, and kindness always leaves footprints in places we cannot see. Years earlier, Malik had helped a young engineer simply because it was the right thing to do. He expected nothing in return. Yet that single act of kindness echoed across time until one phone call changed everything. Sometimes the greatest investments we make are not measured in money. They are measured in the lives we quietly lift along the way. Before we reach the end, please leave a comment with the words, "Kindness always returns," if you believe even small acts of goodness can change someone's future. We'd love to read your thoughts. If this story touched your heart, reminded you of someone who never gave up, or inspired you to keep believing in hope even during life's darkest moments, please like this video, share it with your family and friends, leave a heartfelt comment below, and subscribe to Hardworking Dad. Your support helps us continue bringing stories that encourage, inspire, and remind the world that compassion and courage still have the power to change lives. As Malik and Noah walked home beneath the golden afternoon sun, their shadows stretched side by side across the sidewalk. One was small, one was strong, but both moved in the same direction. The road ahead would still have challenges, but it was no longer filled with fear. It was filled with purpose. Malik smiled quietly, knowing that no company could ever take away the values he carried inside him. In the end, it wasn't the job that defined the man. It was the man who exposed the truth, protected others without seeking recognition, and showed his son that real success is built on honesty, resilience, love, and the courage to stand firm when the world tells you to give up. And sometimes, all it takes to bring down injustice is one unforgettable phone call, and one good man who never stopped doing what was right.